It's been called an epidemic in our towns and surrounding areas, drug addiction, but more specifically, heroin addiction. Hi, I'm M-PACT TV's Darcy Fortune, and here with me today to talk about his own fight and his newly found organization is Scott Malo. Thanks you so much for being with me today and willing to talk about kind of a sensitive topic.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me in.
So what is Monson HEARS?
It's really an organization that we formed in town to not only bring awareness or try and reintroduce awareness of the drug and alcohol problems that are basically sweeping through the nation. I know opiate addiction and heroin addiction have been in the news a lot lately, and so it just became something we felt we needed to do in town to kind of step up, not only from an education point of view for our students in school, just also from a town perspective. If somebody were to come forward and say, I need help, you know, where they can go, and we can kind of point them in the right direction.
That's great. So what does HEARS stand for?
HEARS actually stands for Help, Education, Acceptance, Recovery, and Sanctuary.
Very good. And explain a little bit about that.
Well, we wanted to kind of come up with a name that would at least let people know what the organization was about, first of all. And we were putting names out there to try and come up with something that was catchy but also recognizable in town. And those were just some words that we put out there for people to know that it is actually a place they can go to get information about addiction and recovery itself.
Very good. So you founded this nonprofit organization, and it's kind of fueled by a fight of your own.
That's correct. I'm okay to break my own anonymity. I've been clean and sober for 11 plus years. My sobriety date is August 6, 2003. And I'm very proud of that. And I think one of the reasons I helped start the organization was I wanted people who are struggling with addiction to know that getting sober and being clean is not a death sentence. It's not something that you should shy away from. You know, the life that I have today, I owe to 12-step recovery programs and just sharing my story with other people. So I think from a town perspective and from my perspective, it just felt like this was the right thing to do to give back.
Great. And you know, through your fight, was there ever a point where you thought, I'm never going to get through this, no one else understands?
Sure. I mean, typically what's happening these days is recovery is getting started from an addiction to, say, pain medication that people are getting prescribed from their doctors. And I think that's the scary part of it, is people are trusting physicians, and you know, it seems like we're a pill-heavy society these days. You know, there's a pill for everything, it seems. And my own addiction, even though alcohol was part of my story early on, my drug addiction really took off when I had my back surgery back in 2001. And sure, I mean, there was a time when, you know, people didn't realize how addictive some of the substances that are out there now. I never made it to heroin, but I'm certain that I would have eventually, only because what we feel is happening is kids or adults are using prescription medication, and the street cost is so expensive. And heroin over the past 5 or 6 years has become much less expensive for the same exact type of high that they're getting from the pain medication. And so from my own perspective, it was very difficult for me to get sober and clean, just because no one really knew the addictive properties of some of the medications that were out there 10 or 11 years ago. And so, yeah, it's difficult because having gone through what I went through and being able to be here with you today, I'd go through it again because I've been able to successfully navigate through, you know, my addiction and stay sober and clean, and it's a great life today.
Now, you actually made a video that we're playing on our channel, a YouTube video, kind of remembers people who have died from addiction. Talk a little bit about that video.
Sure. About 5 or 6 months ago, I was by myself at home. My kids were out at friend's house, and I think my wife was working. And I just was watching some news stories on on kids in school districts that were just dying from heroin overdoses. And I knew the drug problem was still out there, and from a macro perspective, it can be daunting to look at. And so I just did a little of my own research that evening, and it was amazing just how many kids or young people across the United States are dying from heroin addiction, which is getting their start from opiates. And so I felt like I just wanted to kind of put something together to bring it to light, to let people know that this is a real problem that's happening, and without each individual town coming together to try and beat it outside, and continue to fight internally, that this was just a good way to do it. People have been very receptive to the video, so that was just one of the reasons I had put it together.
And so through your nonprofit, you hope to get the word out there, kind of educate people, and you're doing so with some great programs. Now talk about Chris Herren. He's going to come to Monson High School on December 4th.
Yeah, that's correct. I saw Chris in Ware High School, I think back in the spring of this year, and I'd never heard him speak before, and so I took a friend of mine, and it was polarizing to hear him speak about his addiction and ultimate recovery. And certainly when somebody of that stature, having been a Celtics player, a basketball superstar in his hometown and in college, to hear him speak about all of the things that he went through to get to his place today, where he's now on tour, basically speaking to what seems like as many communities as he can get to, it was a great thing for us to hear. I was able to also attend the Longmeadow High School event that they had just recently, and so we just felt from an organizational perspective that Chris would be a great place to kind of launch our organization in town. So that's been the event we've kind of focused around, and it's at Monson High School on December 4th. Country Bank and Ware put up a sizable donation to help us bring Chris to town, as well as the athletic boosters in Monson, so we really appreciate that. We're looking forward to seeing him on December 4th. He actually allows questions to be asked from the audience, and I've seen some pretty powerful questions be asked, and people come forward literally at the end of his presentation saying, I have a problem, what can I do and where can I get help? So yeah, it's exciting to have him come to town.
Wow. Now if people wanted to buy tickets or get information, where could they head?
Sure, we have a Facebook page that people can go to. It's the Monson HEARS Facebook page, and from that page we have a link to a website. We're putting tickets out there. The tickets are free, but in order for us to track to see how many people are coming, as well as try and stay within the fire codes of Monson High School, the gymnasium and the cafeteria, we're just asking people to go print out tickets and bring them with them the night of the event, just so we know how many people are coming and we can be prepared. So yeah, I would suggest people go to the Facebook page, and there's a link right from there.
Great. All right, once again, Scott Malo from Monson HEARS, and if you'd like even more information, you can head to their email address, which is monsonhears@gmail.com.